Hey everybody, Brandon Gibson here, owner of Megalo Global. So today I wanted to go into some detail about exactly what Megalo Global is. Now, some of you have read an article that I wrote that describes the outline. And it's a pretty lengthy article, but not everybody has time to read said articles. So I'm going to take the time to make a video about what I've been working on for the last 5 years. I have a lot more energy today than I did the other day when I made the last video. I've been dealing with a neurological condition for quite some time, and my energy comes and goes. So Megalo Global was originally founded as a Facebook competitor back in 2019 when I first launched it. And I realized after my period of building that you can't stop there. You can't just take on one corner of the problem. You have to tackle the entire problem together in its entirety. Otherwise, it'll end up becoming more of a problem later on if you can't cut the head off the snake, if you know what I mean. If you just cut the tail off, the snake will continue to slither through the grass and eventually will bite somebody. Now, Megalo Global was originally founded as what Dan Bongino would refer to as the parallel economy. Well, we're the parallel internet and the parallel platforms. And we are building an internet within a virtual private network. Basically an internet next to a network. The internet next to an internet, so to speak. And we are building a platform for every function you can think of. We have our Megalo Social, which is our Facebook competitor. We have the Jitter Music Center. And we have a search engine, a YouTube competitor that we're building. Let's see, we got a campaign program for politicians to promote and fundraise on the Megalo network. We have our own news network, Megalo Global. We're building our own web hosting company to combat Google Cloud and Amazon Web Services. We're building literally close to 700 platforms in the long run that will all be designed to redefine the internet in its entirety. So we can build multiple platforms, or we can just build one and really not get anywhere. But like I said, you have to tackle the problem in its source and its entirety and not just a piece of the problem. And that's what our goal is. The parallel platforms for the parallel economy. We're also building a banking system specifically for the parallel economy. And I had a couple conversations with some people regarding that over at the paralleleconomy.com platform that's originally started by Dan Bongino, who still owns it. Yes, we're, I guess, technically going to be competing with Rumble also, but I don't consider Twitter and Rumble a competitor anymore. I don't consider Parler a competitor, even though they're a social network. I don't consider Truth Social a competitor, even though some would think they're a competitor simply because we all do the same thing. What makes us separate from them and everybody else is Twitter is now owned by Elon Musk, who has a very free speech-minded ideal, as well as Donald Trump, who owns Truth Social, which is is a free speech Twitter alternative. Okay, so all these companies like Gab, Parler, Truth Social, MeWe, USA.life, the True Patriot Network, and all the other ones that have arose over the years, all have the same goal in mind: to preserve free speech. Well, people ask me all the time, they're like, well, how come you're doing it if they're doing it? Well, of course you can think in the narrow mind. Go for it. Liberals are very narrow-minded people too, so that's why they can't see beyond the box. But what separates us is those companies only have one platform. They're just a Facebook competitor. That's all they are. Nothing more, nothing else. We are taking on everything, not just one corner of it like those other competitors are. And like I said, I don't consider them competitors because we're all doing the same thing here. We all have the same goal in mind. And all that being said, that's what the Megalo Global Network is going to be all about. That's what I've been working on for 5 years. That's what I spent 5 years writing what is now around 3.8 million lines of code to build Megalo Social and a few other platforms. We have every website almost finished, but they just have not been put on the internet yet. And our latest one is going to be a web hosting company that will integrate a phone service and advertising platform all in one. So when you get a web server with us, you'll have the option to include an advertisement through our network on there, as well as a free listing on our search engine. And then we can promote across the internet itself using various other platforms. There's a free service, for example, called submitx.com, which will simply, for free, once a month, you can do it more than once a month, but you can pay $5 to them and they'll auto list it every month. If you pay for $5, they'll do an auto list every week. I think it's every week that they do it for $5, but you can promote your website across 700 different search engines by simply clicking one button. And that's one of the avenues that we promote on. And our search engine will also be listed on their submission section very soon. I've already talked to them about integrating that. We just got to get the search engine off the ground. It's got to be on the internet ready to promote. And we are a Christian internet technology company. At the end of the day, we host a series of platforms to compete with big tech. And it is a Christian, American, and constitutional platform, all three of them combined. So we respect people's privacy. We don't track our users. We don't sell our users' activity because we don't track the activity. So we can't sell something we don't track. You have to track it in order to have it, and then you have to sell it if you have it. We don't do none of that. We don't track our users. We don't sell personal information. And if you post something on Megalo Social, unlike Facebook, who will literally only show you posts of the people you're friended with. If you're not friends with them, typically you won't see it. If you're not connected to them, you won't see what they post. On Megalo Social, whoever posts what, everybody sees it. You could have 1,000 people all posting different things, and every user on the platform will see that on the news feed if you scroll down enough. It's called infinite scrolls. And you have no limit of how many friends you can have. You could have 10 billion friends, and it wouldn't matter. Facebook only allows you 5,000 friends per user, which I think is complete crap. Everybody should have a right to have more followers than they want. And that's exactly what this platform is going to be doing. It's going to be promoting free speech and unrestricted access across the entire network. And we're soon to be including movies on that list. I've already worked out a royalties deal with 5 different companies. Sony Entertainment, Universal Studios, let's see, Fox Television, and Paramount, as well as including Tubi TV on that list. So that's 5. Yeah, that is 5. And the Jitter Music Center, I've partnered with 2 other royalties companies, including Sony Music and... No, there is 5 movies. MGM is on there also. I'm not putting Disney on there, so don't get me roped into that one. That's no way in hell. I don't care if they own Star Wars or not. I'm still putting Star Wars on there because Star Wars is technically still owned by George Lucas, even though he gave the creation rights to Disney, but he still owns it, and worked that one out later. But Sony Entertainment is their music, and what was the other one? Universal Music. I'm trying to remember. There's a third one, music studio on that list, and I can't remember the name of it. I'll have to get back into the paperwork to read that because there's several different companies out there that do music. But our music platform is not just selling existing records. It's also creating records and albums for new musicians, and they can create, upload, and sell their own music. It's a self-publishing service, even though we welcome existing record companies on there who can sell their music as well. So in the long run, when you sell music on there, technically that's your creation and your rights to the proceeds, and Megalo Global only takes a 10% commission of each sale. So if you sell $100 worth of records, we're taking $10 out of there, simply because that's 10% of $100. So that is where the Jitter Music Center comes in. MyPoll is another platform, an app for Android that we're working on, as well as iOS. And it will have 2 sections to it. It will have a campaigner and a fundraiser in one. So people who are running for office can use it to campaign, fundraising, as well as promote and create their campaign on the MyPoll app. And you can send it out on the Megalo network or Facebook or however, and you can promote the hell out of your campaign. And when you reach your campaign goal or exceed it, or even if you don't exceed it, it won't cut you off. Some of those fundraising platforms, if say your goal is $10,000, but you only raised $5,000, they won't let you complete it, and they'll send it back and cancel it all. We don't do that. You could have a $10,000 goal and only raise $2,000, and your campaign will still continue to grow even after it expires. And that's the idea. So they can raise as much money as they want, but the processing fee is 10%. So if they make, say, $2 million in campaign funding, when it comes time to pay out, we take 10% for our profit as a transaction fee, and they get the rest of it. But the key feature is, again, we don't sell the privacy or the activities of that campaign manager, and we do not hinder political campaigns like Facebook and Twitter does. They literally cut off Donald Trump because they didn't agree with his way of political beliefs. And right afterwards, shortly after, Elon Musk went and bought out Twitter. And then he found the back door that the government and everything had to censor it. So kudos to you, Elon, because you took on a big headache when you bought that company. And now you're pretty much an enemy for buying it because everybody on the left doesn't like it no more. They don't like Twitter anymore because they can't use it to rig a campaign. Facebook does the same thing. They blocked me for simply sharing a link relating to Donald Trump back in the first election that he started. When he went after Hillary, that was when I got kicked off Twitter. It was back in, 2016? So it is what it is, Anyway, I hope everybody has a classy day, and if you guys have any questions, don't hesitate to hit me up. I'm always around. I'm always answering phones, and let's have a great Easter. God bless everyone.